Hey everybody, welcome back. We are in the ATR 72 on the way down to Piarco. Just getting ready for top of descent here. And let's see. We got a little bit to go yet. We gotta wait until we get the vertical bars here on the display. We are direct NAPCO, which I should probably do at this point instead of talking. Altitude restriction 4,100 or above, and there we go. Let's see what that does top of descent wise. Alright, and there we've got the bar, so we can dial in 4,100.
And Caribbean 257, I don't see descending, sir.
Just starting our descent now, Caribbean 257. I don't know why it's descending in. Well, there's two things I don't understand. Number one, why it's descending in the mode that it's descending in. It should be in VNAV path mode. That's number one. Number two, I don't understand why he's concerned with when I start my descent, because here's what I'm going to do.
Transponder now, squawk 6057 tonight. We schedule transponder to 6057.
So it's really
257 contact Piarco array, correction, Piarco approach now on 62119.
Piarco approach on 119.0. Thanks a lot for your help. Have a great day. There's 119.0. Let's make sure we're still on. Let's check ATIS here. We're still on Bravo. Alright. Let's see here. Piarco approach Caribbean 257. We are out of 18 for 4,100 with information Bravo.
257 Piarco approach, roger that. Cross NAPCO 4,100 feet. Cleared for the RNAV approach on a 10, you can report sitting final.
Alright, cross NAPCO at 4,100. Cleared RNAV 10, and we'll report final Caribbean 257. Alright, so so what I did, I'll explain a couple things here. Number one, I wasn't really sure why he was concerned that I wasn't descending, because I was told to cross NAPCO at 4,100 at the pilot's discretion. I can descend however and wherever, you know, like I can start my descent and descend at whatever rate I want to. I just need to meet that restriction. So I wasn't really sure why he wasn't happy with me descending yet. But the other thing was, I was in it was in IAS mode for the descent, which is not what I wanted. Usually when the vertical bars come up, the magenta bar comes up on the altitude tape here on the right side. You can dial in the descent altitude that you're looking for, and it will hold your altitude in VNAV path mode. I may not have been in VNAV path mode before I put that in, now that I'm thinking about it, which is probably what happened. But in any event, we got everything we want now. FWS recall, we are good. Landing elevation is good. FMS nav data, let's see here. The runway wind is literally 0, 0, 0, which is very unusual. Transition altitude is Let's see here. Transition altitude. Transition level 5,500. Okay. I'm proud of them for actually having a transition level. Usually they don't even bother. Usually transition level is by ATC, which I find completely annoying. So we're in good shape. So we should be crossing NAPCO at the correct altitude. Decision height is 350. Dial that in here. I really like this view that I've got set up, this cockpit view that I've got set up. Makes it really easy to look, you know, to see all the checklists, to see your instruments. Alright, arrival briefing. I'll show you guys this one so we can have a look together. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Caribbean Virtual Airlines, which I'm flying for right now, please join us on BAMSIS. Reach out to me on Discord if you can't find it. Virtual Caribbean Airlines, great. We're getting a lot of our routes up now, getting some new routes up. We're ready to do some fun flying, and we'd love to have you join us. So, all right, it's an RNAV approach, final approach course 105, glide slope intercept Talus at 1700. Decision height is 350 feet, airport elevation 58, runway elevation 30. Minimum safe altitude around the airport reference point is 4,100 feet. Airport reference point is right there. So that means a 25-mile range around that point. We're good up to 4,100 feet. And the reason it's 4,100 feet is because right there, 3,075, we got 1,000 feet clearance above that, as this is considered a non-mountainous area, even though we're flying directly toward a mountain right now. Missed approach climb 1,500, straight ahead, climbing right turn to 4,100, direct Elmira, which is to the south. And this is a non-standard holding pattern. How do we know that? Because they are left-hand turns. Standard holding pattern is right-hand turns. So we flip everything around. So how would we enter this hold? I would enter this hold as on a teardrop. And teardrop on a non-standard hold is you're out, you cross the waypoint outbound plus 30 degrees. So 195 plus 30 is 225. So I would cross this waypoint on a heading of 225 for 1 minute, and then I'd make a standard rate left-hand turn inbound to 015, and then we'd be right there in the turn. So minimum holding altitude is 4,100 feet, max is flight level 140. So NAPCO's initial approach fix. We are 4 minutes from NAPCO now. Distance to the threshold, you guys. So if we, well, this is basically just for reference on an RNAV approach. 5 miles, 4 miles, 3 miles, what your altitude is supposed to be. We're gonna be going what, about 110 knots, so about 600 feet a minute. High intensity approach light system, which is the Rabbit. You got the PAPI, which is the precision approach path indicator. That's the 4 lights there. The thing I want to do now, yeah, I think I'll start bringing the speed back now. And that will have an effect on our descent rate. So I'm not going to bring it all the way back to 170 like right away, but I do want to start trending in that direction relatively quickly. Alright, what else do we need to know? So mist is straight ahead 1,500, climbing right turn 4,100, direct Elmira. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Very standard very standard instrument approach, but a very cool instrument. It's just it's a beautiful approach into Piarco. We'll go seatbelt signs on. Landing lights are already on. Should they have been on? No. Cabin altitude is decreasing. Altimeter, what, 5,500 I said? Alright, so now we are good to go.
Just doing a radio check. We were just doing a radio check now.
Alright, so we are good to go. Beautiful approach. I love this approach. I haven't flown it in quite a while. Quite know if we're gonna hit NAPCO 4100. And we are not. I can't remember what they said at or above 4100, or if he gave me at 4100. Doesn't really matter. Alright, NAPCO is our final approach, or initial approach fix rather, so we will hit the approach button. We are using our Holy Grail settings. I haven't done this in quite a while. It's looking very good. BFP mode is captured. Got a good ways to go yet. So Alexor is 10-mile final. So in this airplane, I'm in no rush. I don't know why it does that every time it crosses a waypoint, but it does.
Cleared to Ugo via Vodak, climb flight level 80, squawk 7
Alright, so notify the cabin crew.
Report when ready for startup, right 7130.
Alright. It is beautiful. Just love this approach. Alright, 2.5 from Lexor. I will go geared, 15 degrees of flaps. I'll get that speed trending down nicely to 140.
About right now 7130, ready for startup.
7130 had approved reported taxi.
That's
Field is in sight. 1,000 to go. Once we turn final, that should drop to 1,700. Speed is going to drop in the turn because we are losing vertical lift. We are exchanging vertical lift for horizontal lift. That's how airplanes turn. Horizontal component of lift. And Piarco approach, Caribbean 257 on final for runway 10.
Caribbean 257, runway 10, land winds calm.
Clear to land, winds calm, Caribbean 257. Yeah, I knew I was a little high for the gear speed, but what happens is when you turn, you're going to slow down because you need to increase your angle of attack to maintain your descent rate. And when you increase your angle of attack, if you don't change your power, you are going to go slower, if that makes sense. So I knew I didn't have anything to worry about in terms of speed. So we will now go gear down. I'll bring in just a little bit of power because Talus's glide slope intercept is 1,700. I'm not quite worried yet about that. This I should be able to dial up to 4,100 now. The mist. There we go. Coming up on Talus. Talus is 5 miles. Almost look like we know what we're doing here, folks. Almost. Just love this approach into Piarco. It's just so pretty. Just a beautiful approach in my opinion. Alright, 1,500. There's 5 miles. Alright, flaps full. Alright, flaps full. Make sure that trend arrow doesn't go down below your target speed. Yeah, over here. Alright, so landing lights on. Gear down 3 green. Alright. $1,200 for 300. Or $1,200 for 350 technically. And what you want to do, what I'm going to try to do here is once I kick off the autopilot, I'm just going to maintain the pitch attitude that I have. Pitch, power, and pitch and power. That's all I have to do. Don't have to change anything. Maintain pitch and power. So the nose dropped a little bit when I kicked the autopilot off. All good. Airspeed's fine. Just a little correction.
500.
Little touch of power. Little touch of power. Again, not too crazy. It says 4 red, but
Approaching minimum.
I don't think that is correct. I'm right on the vertical glide path. Touch more power.
Minimum.
Landing.
100.
Remember the pappies and the glide path for your approach are not always the same. He just held that pitch attitude the entire time.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Alright. That was pretty nice. I mean, it should be. No wind.
Going 257, welcome to the Arco vehicle at Alpha 2 and Alpha 2 to the ground, everyone.
Vacate left, Alpha 2 to the ramp. Caribbean 257. Okay, if my chart would come up, that would be even more helpful. Alpha 2, Alpha to the ramp. So, I have to say I was pretty happy with that. I mean, you should be, right? With no... wind. But right there I had the autopilot, you know, obviously on, and it had a perfect you know, perfect glide path, no risk of wind shear or anything like that. So just when you kick the autopilot off, just hold the pitch attitude that you had. I had this was just a hair below, well, because I'm using the DLDSR, my mouse is not going to show exactly where I'm trying to show, but the on the primary flight display, the pitch attitude is just one dot below the horizon with the power setting that I had. So just hold it there. No reason to change anything. You know, just hold it there. I turned I didn't, the second time, second flight in a row, I forgot to turn the heat probes on. And that is important. So yeah, kick off the autopilot, just hold your pitch attitude. If nothing changes, nothing should change, if that makes sense. Hold your pitch attitude, just ride it all the way down. The unfortunate thing is you can't trust the PAPIs in the sim. You also can't trust the glide path per se in this airplane. The green arrows there, 100%. I don't trust them 100%. So what I did is just held my pitch attitude, my airspeed, and I just tried to stay on the right side there. The vertical indicator, the magenta box there, and just wrote it down. The flip side of that is you can also say, okay, once you kick the autopilot off, say, okay, never mind the approach now, I'm visual, and then just follow the PAPIs. You can do one or the other, just don't do both. Because if you try doing both, if the PAPI is not coincident, as they say, with the glide path of the approach, which it is often not, you are going to be mighty disappointed. Sort of making up my own parking here. Or at least making up my own way to get to stand 17. But I was very satisfied with that. I'm still need a little bit more finesse on the flare, but the controls are a little bit twitchy for that. But that's all right. All right, those on the brakes. Let's set the set the parking brake here. Shut down the number 1 engine. Come up here, we'll set this to feather. And we'll release that, let the people go. And we should be there we go. Alright, now come over here. Set the chocks, get some ground power. Tail prop, get our doors open. And then we'll come over here. Shut that off. There we go. So, I'm pretty sure that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the flight, and we will see you next time here at Caribbean Virtual Airlines.